I'd prefer him not to get hit with the backhand, but I mean, we're not going to make Joyce a prime Floyd Mayweather. That's not his style.
Pro boxing fans here in Birmingham for the Next Gen card, Matchroom Next Gen card, featuring one of your fighters. It's big Saul Dacres is fighting. Just Shane, how are you? How's life?
All good, mate. A bit jet lag. I landed from Vegas with Joe last night. Well, I didn't land with him. He's still in Vegas, but I've done his first 2 months of his training. I'm out there, so extremely tired. I've had a few monsters today. My heart is pumping like it never has done before. I'm actually slightly worried about it. Yeah, we've got a big night for Saul. He's almost become, well, people are trying to make him the forgotten heavyweight in the division, but coming off a good win for the English heavyweight title, he's got a tough step up in Chris Thompson, who had a close fight with Romanov. He's a tricky southpaw, and to have a southpaw in 2 weeks' notice is not ideal, because I think they only sparred 2 or 3 times against southpaws in this camp. So, and he said he's never sparred a southpaw as a pro, so going to hopefully answer a lot of unanswered questions on Saturday.
I said to Solomon in an interview that every fight seems to be a test. You know, when he fought Kamil Sakalovsky, everyone said this is a test for him. Last fight in Newcastle said, listen, this guy is a test for him. Saul's been walking through them in a comfortable manner, if you want to say. How far do you reckon it's going to be for Saul fights for something like the British title? Because he's saying he's ready right now.
Yeah, we are, and we tried to force that fight before. Unfortunately, other people and other teams didn't really fancy the fight at the time. I can understand why. I mean, Fabio has done an incredible job so far as a professional. He actually inspires me sometimes, because I look at someone like that come from the unlicensed white collar scene to achieve what he's done in a short time frame. Actually, he deserves the utmost respect. He's beat ex-world title challengers and all sorts. So I have the utmost respect for him, and I actually backed Nathan Gorman to beat him, and he ended up demolishing him in the end. So fair play to Fabio, but I think he's looking at other fights. Obviously, the Adelaide fight got ordered in the end. That'll be a big fight, and hopefully we can get Solomon with a winner, all being well, this weekend.
Talking about heavyweights, you've just talked about Joyce just then. Talk to me about how he is. A lot of people are sort of throwing a lot of questions at Joe for the rematch, saying, listen, can you do this, that and the other? But firstly, how's things going in camp right now?
Yeah, rightly so. People should have their doubts, because he lost the fight, and he lost in a way that no one expected him to. So I understand the doubters and the critics. Now up to him to put the critics to bed, really. So camp's been going really, really well. Been sparring top level southpaws, doing a very good job on them as well. I would say he's a lot more comfortable boxing southpaws now. He understands the game plan. He understands what went wrong the first time. As a team, we've understood what went wrong the first time. We've rectified the mistakes that were made as a team as well. And we're all systems go on Zhang now, and I believe Joe will knock Zhang out within 8 rounds.
I asked David Hay last week, what does Joyce need to do to beat Zhang? And he goes, listen, he needs to move his head. I asked him, can you teach him to move his head this late in his career? He said he should be able to. But is that what you're seeing in camp? Is he moving his head a lot more? Because we saw the backhand landing again and again in that fight. Is that part of the plan? Make sure that he moves his head so he doesn't get hit with that backhand.
I mean, I'd prefer him not to get hit with the backhand, but I mean, we're not going to make Joyce a prime Floyd Mayweather. That's not his style. He's also 37 years of age. It's hard to change fighters at that time. He's never been that kind of a guy anyway. But we need to make sure we use all of Joyce's strengths in the rematch. That's what we need to do. Use the best possible Joe against the best possible Zhang, and Joe will always win. So there are elements of the game plan that we have switched and changed to hopefully ensure that he doesn't get caught with so many power shots, of course, but we have to see how it pans out on fight night. It's all good when having a plan. They'll have their own plan as well. They'll be super confident after the last fight, but everything that could have gone wrong in the last fight for Joe went wrong, and I still believe, as much as people want to laugh and take the piss, that Joe would have still won that fight if his eye didn't close up. He was coming on strong the last 2 rounds. I rewatched it again the other day with no commentary as well. I thought he won 2 of the opening 6 rounds as well. And I thought he was going to win that round. The fight got stopped in, and Zhang was completely slowed down and was tired. So being in the ring with Joyce when you're tired for another 6 rounds, it would have been a nightmare for Zhang. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. He got the win, and he deserved the win. He won fair and square, and he won in a way that no one expected him to, including myself. So credit to Zhang. But when Joe beats Zhang, he'll be back to where he was, and he'll be an even bigger name, and then there's big opportunities for him.
A lot of people talked about the weight. Said, listen, he came in too light for that fight. In hindsight, looking back at things, do you feel like Joe came in too light? And is he going to be putting that weight back on for the rematch?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was a very low weight. It wasn't necessarily intentional either. We were just going with the weight that Joe felt comfortable and happy with and was training well with. There may or may not be changes of that moving forward. We have to see how his weight goes towards fight night. But yeah, I can see why people would say that, because for the first time, Joe wasn't out-manning and out-muscling someone in a fight, so that's what they think. But Zhang's an incredibly strong and tough guy as well. Like, people can all say Joe should have done this, Joe should have done that, but Zhang's a very good fighter, and he should be, 26-0, because he didn't lose to Hrgovic either. I don't know anyone that gave Hrgovic a decision other than the judges. So at the end of the day, Zhang's an ex-Olympic silver medalist, should be IBF mandatory, but he's not. And he's a very, very good fighter, and he's an elite world level fighter. But yeah, we'll get it right next time.
Let's talk about the weekend just gone. Anthony Joshua fighting Robert Helenius. Did you get time to watch that fight? Obviously you're in Vegas, but I'm sure you might have had time to watch that fight. If so, what did you make of his performance?
Yeah, I did get to watch it. It's an impressive finish from AJ. It's a finish that we haven't seen for a very long time. I'm sure that gave him a lot of confidence in his right hand, because I know that obviously previously he didn't have that in the Franklin fight, and maybe not so much in the Usyk fights either. So that was good to see. Was I impressed with the performance? I've got to be completely honest, I wasn't, because he was still getting tagged with a jab fairly easily. He was getting hit with a left uppercut fairly easily. I think that's what caused the damage on his eye, actually. He's bleeding that as well against Helenius, who has absolutely no form whatsoever. Got sparked out cold by Washington, and we saw what Washington brought to the table against Chisora in the fight before. He'd been sparked quite badly recently as well. He got knocked out one round by Wilder. You know, I mean, he wasn't going in there against Helenius of old that was a decent, solid European level fighter, and he was making it. I thought AJ was maybe one round going up into that round, so going into the 7th. So am I overly impressed? No, but it was a good finish, and hopefully he can take a lot of confidence in that, and it'll make the Wilder fight a bit more exciting.
David Hay, Tony Bellew said on the broadcast that maybe he needs one more fight before he fights a Wilder. Do you believe that's the case? Do you believe that maybe he needs to build up that confidence a little bit more before he fights someone as dangerous as a Wilder? Or do you think, you know what, opportunities there, January, February, maybe in Saudi Arabia, just throw him in there, and, you know, maybe he hasn't got that many fights left in the game for him to wake up to. Maybe this is the fight that he'll be waking up to and show people that he's got that confidence.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely would be. I think it definitely would help him. I mean, he's only going to boost his confidence even more if he can get another big KO. But the problem is, who do you put him in with? Because you can't just fight sea-level opposition. The fans won't get behind it. I don't think it sold out the other night. It didn't sell out against Franklin. The fans won't get behind a guy that's not game and proper and world level. And then you've got the risk of putting him in there with someone who's game and proper and world level, because they all come to win and they all can cause upsets on a night, as we saw with Zhang and Joyce as well. So it's a difficult one, really. It depends on how much he backs and believes in himself, how much his team back and believe in him as well. If they believe that he's an elite world level fighter, then I guess another warm-up against a solid top 15 guy could be a good thing for him. But who do you put him in with that's going to boost his confidence at world level? There isn't anyone really, so it depends what his team think. But I'm not there all the time. I don't know what he's doing in the gym, but I think it's one of them ones. If you believe that you can go out there and knock a top 15 guy out, then they should probably do it. And if you don't believe it, then you shouldn't, and you should put all your eggs in one basket and go for the Wilder fight.
I spoke to him. A question I asked him at the post-fight was, how long have you got left in the sport? Is it just a Wilder fury that you're going to wake up for, or are you going to be here for like another 3-4 years? And he said, listen, no chance I'm here for another 3-4 years. I'm done. I'm basically want to get my stuff done and get out of here. So let's see what happens with that. Let's talk about someone you guys know really well in Daniel Dubois, in a tough task in Poland next weekend against Oleksandr Usyk. Give me your thoughts on that, Shane. Can Daniel cause an upset in Poland?
Of course he can. I mean, do I think he will? No, I don't. But can he? Absolutely. He's you can't really call him proper world level, because he's actually not beating anyone at world level. But he's not a million miles away from it. He can punch very hard with either hand. I mean, Joe told me he jabs hard in his right hand, so that's 2 shots that he can absolutely knock someone out with. I think a lot of the time when people are overlooking someone, that's a lot of the time when the upset's caused, as we've seen in recent times. So I give him a chance, and Don Charles knows Usyk very well. He's had to prepare for him before. Yeah, I definitely give him a chance, but it's a very slim one, and I can't really see Usyk overlooking anyone. He's just not that kind of a guy. So it's a very, very hard night, but it's definitely not impossible, no.
Well, Shane, I'm going to let you go on, but thank you very much for your time. I think Saul's busy doing his interviews right now. Good luck to Saul, good luck to the team, and no doubt I'll speak to you very soon. Solomon, thank you very much.
Yeah, top man, thank you, mate.